Hi, welcome to the show that's all about your value, worth, and potential. You're with Russell Fox, and this is I Am Neuro Spicy.
Welcome to, I suppose for me, which is a super special episode. I'm going to be introducing you to someone that has had an immense impact on my life, somebody that fought for me when I couldn't fight for me, not just as a child, but as a teenager, as a young adult, and as an adult, and who believed in me, joy, here it goes, more than I believed in myself, and still believes in me, who has invested in me to the max. A woman that I adore, value immensely. She is an incredibly strong woman, and I'm chuffed that I can introduce her to you. So in this episode, I'm going to be taking you through a conversation with my mother. I've got some intense questions. I'm just going to check that we still got them over there. If you're wondering what this is, it's a mouse. The laptop's over there with all the questions. We're going to be deep diving into this. I grew up in the 70s. I was born in 1973. Me being a young age, found out that I was neurodiverse, and in that time there was little to no knowledge about it. And we're going to be doing a deep dive into that. My mum's a hero in her own right. She's a hero in my life, my brother's life. And she is not just a hero in our life. She is a mother to many women. And she inspires them with her incredible story of overcoming incredible odds, not just my brother in my life, but her own life as well. So welcome to this episode 3 of I Am Neuro Spicy. If you haven't been to the channel before, welcome to the channel. If you have been before, welcome back. It's good to have you, and looking forward to sharing this with you. How are you doing, Mom?
Fine.
I think we actually went out for coffee to do some other work. Yes, we both do other work. Both my mum and I own businesses. My mum works with me in my industry as well. So we popped out this morning for a cup of coffee, and we kind of bantered about this, how you were a bit nervous, and I think we were nervous because we know it's going to be an emotional interview for both of us. Very, very, very much so. So if I'm looking to the left, it's because there are so many questions. I'm not going to memorize them. My tablet decided it was going to conk out on me this morning. I think it's the battery. So I've set up my laptop, zoomed it into the max, and I've got a mouse. So I might look to the left. It's not that I'm being rude. It's just that I'm having a look at the questions for Mum. So before we talk the tough stuff, do you have any really good favorite memories with me and Brent? And funny one comes to mind, and I have a feeling you're going to talk about that because that was a very significant part of our relationship. So fond memories with me and Brent.
That was on a Friday, picking you up from school.
Cherry Lane.
And taking you out for coffee, it was the one time you were allowed to eat anything. I used to alternate between you and Brent, so it was like you could share with me and I could share with you, and it was out.
I think I remember that. You built a relationship with us. That was you really diving into me and Brent in terms of relation. I think we both learned a lot about relationships. I know Brent, my brother's a musician, incredible musician. Go check him out. It's Immigrants in the Basement. He's in the UK now, but he wrote a song for you, and I'll actually drop that on a link to that if it's available. I think it is. I'll find out from him below. It's called Over a Coffee Table, and
Many cups of tea.
Mm-hmm. And it's funny because you didn't drink tea.
No.
You're a coffee person like myself. Yeah, absolutely. What was the takeaway from those times with Brent and I? And I recall Cherry Lane. I don't recall any other places.
No, for me, the things that I took away from there was that you actually trusted me enough to share with me.
Okay, so trust. So trust was all there. Okay, because were there concerns? I mean, at that point in time, especially when we were very young, you didn't necessarily know that we were neurodiverse at that point in time.
No, there was not. That wasn't a word thing.
It wasn't a word thing. It's funny because that was a question that I was going to ask. The word neurodiverse.
The only thing that we knew was ADHD.
Okay. Well, if I recall, back then it was actually ADD. It still wasn't ADHD. It was later on.
No,
I think
it was ADHD
was it?
because
Okay.
you were hyperactive as well.
I was hyperactive. Okay.
Mm.
Okay. And Brent was.
He was just, he just had a learning problem, so I think he was just dyslexic, I'm not sure.
Okay, so Brent was possibly dyslexic as well.
Mm.
And that's interesting because we're going to be having, and I recall Brent being a reader. Brent was an avid reader. He loved reading.
Still does.
Still does. And we're going to be talking about dyslexia individually in an episode. Sheree, myself, and someone else who is an incredible reader and is dyslexic as well. And, but, so he had epilepsy.
Mm.
And he had dyslexia. And you discovered that Brent and I both had epilepsy at the same time because you, at that point in time, did you know that I was ADHD?
No, we just knew it was something. What had happened was I'd taken Brent to Red Cross Hospital to be tested.
Mm.
And then she said, I was bring you in and they tested you. And that's when they discovered that you were both
Epilepsy. So that was when we discovered that we both had epilepsy.
Yeah.
I don't know how Brent experienced epilepsy. Mine was very weird. It was sensory.
Mm.
For Brent, do you remember I used to talk about that? How speed would, we'd be driving 60 k's an hour. I don't know how many miles an hour that is if you're going to watch this in the US, but we drive 60 k's an hour. And to me, it would feel like we were doing 300, 400, 500. It was everything reversed. It's like the wires got crossed. Brent. And then also smooth things, extremely smooth things would feel opposite rough. So my wires would get crossed, which was scary for me as a kid.
No, he didn't get that. He used to just do, he would look like go blank.
Okay, so he would zone out. So it's
Exactly.
okay. And Sheree, my brand manager, Sheree, that's what we spoke about that in the first episode as well. So he would just kind of zone out. He wouldn't pass out, he would just zone out. It's as if he wasn't there present. Okay, that's cool. So, I mean, when you found out, at that point in time, you had no cooking clue that Brent was dyslexic as well, and I was severely neurodiverse in many other things. It was just epilepsy. What did you feel back then? I mean, did you know much about epilepsy, or had you heard about it and then kind of went, maybe this is what my kids have? Or how did you come across it?
I've got a friend, I'm not sure where she is, but she had epilepsy.
Okay.
One day she was sitting watching Brent and she said to me, go and have him tested, I'm sure he's epileptic.
Oh, wow.
That's how it came about.
Oh, wow.
Because I'd been going to the doctor and saying there was something wrong, and I was told I was a neurotic mother.
That was one of the sad things in those times, I think, because there was, I don't know if doctors and teachers and people just thought lesser of everybody else. I can't speak for them, I don't know. But you had a hard time with doctors and teachers and everybody because people just thought you were cooked, you were crazy, you had a problem. And I mean, mums know their children. I believe there's an ingrained connection between mum and child. You just know in the spirit within you that something's up, and you knew this.
Yeah.
And even though you had gone to see a doctor, they just told you nothing's wrong with your kid. You're cooked. Sure.
And then when I took you to Red Cross, the professor then wanted to know what I thought was wrong. So I said, I actually don't know. She says, no, mothers know.
Yeah, exactly.
And from
Exactly.
then on, they actually got the diagnosis.
So at that point in time, when you found out that you were epileptic, how did you feel? How did you start feeling at that point in time? What were your thoughts back then when suddenly you found out not just one child was epileptic, both were epileptic?
I actually said, well, why do I have to have two?
Why do you have to have two? And that's the thing is, I'm sure I'm sure there are many parents out there, mums, fathers, single mums, single fathers, and in a way, as incredible a man as Dad was, and we only found out in the last year of Dad's life that he had everything I have. He was loaded with it as well, and he didn't know. At that point in time, did you already feel alone with Brent and myself? Just the epilepsy. Did you feel alone because Dad, was he still emotionally present? Because he wasn't emotionally present for Brent and I.
No, he wasn't. I was really alone. And I still went down to the doctor one day for depression, and he said to me, "Why are you depressed?" I said, "Well, this is the problem that I've got." So he says to me, "You might have to look after him for the rest of your life."
Was that Brent or me?
You.
Me. Sure. And this was just epilepsy, or was this when you had
Everything.
You had found out everything? Right? Okay. So, I mean, so what age was I when you discovered that I was epileptic?
6.
6. So this was already before school.
Yeah.
You still had no, and the rest was still to come. Okay. At that point in time, were there any other friends around you that had neurodiverse kids, special needs kids?
Yes.
There were. Were they the ones that were, and were they a,
We actually formed a group.
that I was about to say, were they people that came around you who knew more than you or as much as
I
you?
was the one who knew the most because I did the most research.
Okay. So at that point, what research was there available in these?
Mostly about food colouring and sugar.
That's it. Food colouring and sugar,
Yeah.
nothing else. So you had no cooking clue. There were other things that were causing chaos in my life as well. Were those same things causing chaos in Brent's life as well?
No.
Not at all. So the battle had begun. Because at this point in time, you've got no cooking clue that Brent's dyslexic. I have dyslexia, ADHD, epilepsy, Tourette's, learning disabilities, blah, blah, blah. You've got no cooking clue about this yet. And it's about to come. When it did start coming, I go to school. I'm in my first year of school. I remember Vora Baltimore, and I remember one teacher, Ms. Fabian, I was already disruptive in class, very disruptive in class. And I was already battling with studying. I didn't know why. I was 7 years old. What do I know? But I remember this teacher. And she would pull my sideways. I mean, she wouldn't just pull it, she would pull me. She would pull my, we laugh now, but back then, it was horrible. She would pull my sideburns and there was no help. And there was a teacher that you mentioned that said, how can you stand me, like me, love me, walk me around, all of that? What did that make you feel?
I actually think that by that time I'd had so many people saying nasty things that it just sort of like brushed past me.
So you then already started ignoring what people say. So by then you realized it was you and you alone.
Yeah.
And then you also kind of became a bit of a support system for this other group. So you had these 2 kids that you were part with when it came to information. And you had already then had no idea that I had everything I have. And now you're trying to be there for these other women, and you don't even know how to be there for yourself.
Yeah.
How did you deal with this, man?
Well, eventually, me and Maureen, we were the leaders of the group. We actually ended up looking at each other one day and saying, "I can't do this anymore. I'm exhausted." And so we stopped the group, and it was just the 2 of us.
You and who?
Maureen.
Auntie Maureen. So a bit of context. Auntie Maureen was my mum's best friend at that point in time, and her son Ross was my best friend. I actually write about him in my book. I'm not going to go into details now, but he was neurodiverse as well, severely neurodiverse as well. And so Auntie Maureen at that time became your support system. Now, the reason I'm talking about this is today we have the internet. You can find groups online that will uplift you, encourage you. Information is absolutely ridiculously available. The challenge is navigating through that information for truth. That's where it becomes dangerous. I still do a lot of studies about ADHD because I realized I need to take this upon myself and learn about it so that I can learn to manage it. And I'm coached. So at that point in time, there was absolutely no one assisting you, no one believing you. And then I'm in a school where I'm starting to be bullied by teachers.
I just want to tell you about one thing.
Yeah.
I was sent to the psychological department at Red Cross with you. And they picked up that you were depressed. Every picture that you drew was black or grey or whatever. Anyway, so then they started saying it was my fault you were.
Oh, wow.
And eventually it got to the point where I went home. And I said to Mike, my husband, I'm not going back there. They've knocked me into the ground and I'm just throwing my way inside.
Were these your words?
And I never went back. But from then on, I just went for money.
Where did you find your information? I mean, the internet wasn't around. This didn't exist.
Actually, something did exist because I actually got information from a person in England who was working with a child who had ADHD.
Who was this?
I can't remember her name.
Wasn't this Simon Gaskell's mom?
No,
Okay.
it wasn't her.
Simon was a school friend, by the way. Yeah.
No, it wasn't her. I don't remember her name, but she also had a child, and so she put all the information that she had. It must have been on the internet.
But there wasn't internet back then. I was still a child. I mean, I was.
Well, you wouldn't have known about it because you wouldn't have been playing on the internet. We wouldn't have let you.
No, but there weren't computers. There were still not computers around.
I had a desktop
When?
at that stage. I was working at that stage.
Oh, how old? Okay, hang on. Let's. How old was I? I mean, where are we now?
It was at about.
I mean, I started school in.
1980s.
But I started school in 73.
No, you wouldn't. You only born.
I mean, it's 70. I started
78.
78. No, I would have been. Yeah. No, 73, 78. Yes, I would have been 7 then. No, I started school. It had to be 80. 1980, I started school. Were there computers then?
Yeah.
In 1980. I don't remember. Oh, and there was the internet?
There must have been.
I don't. But anyways, this information. So the two of you started chatting. You can't remember who this is.
No.
And what was her son battling with?
Also ADHD.
Also ADHD.
And she found that the food coloring and the sugar affected him.
Oh, so this information came from her.
Yeah.
And it was majority tartrazine, correct?
Yeah.
It was what did that do to me? What did that do? I don't know. I've got no clue.
You literally swung from the chandelier.
So this was like a combination of tartrazine and sugar. I actually recall I was off dairy then as well.
Yeah.
I wasn't allowed to touch dairy. At that point in time, they didn't have the knowledge they have about dairy nowadays, that most of the lactose that comes from dairy is in milk. And then it, as it refines, becomes cheese or yogurt or cream cheese, or ice cream, then that the lactose becomes less and less. So today I do cream, cheese. I'm on a very strict diet called the LCHF lifestyle to manage my weight. My mom and I are both those people that will smell a chip and pick up weight. It's ridiculous. But anyways, that's just what we are. So I would swing off the chandeliers, like literally. And how did you manage this? What do you...
One day, we got out to the Wimpy and you wanted a green milkshake. So I said, no, you couldn't have a green milkshake. And my dad says, why can't you have a green milkshake? I said, okay, you can have a green milkshake, but I'm going to bed, you can take care of him. So the next day he says to me, I'll never argue with you again.
So I know sugar gives you the high. What did the tartrazine do? What is
Tartrazine and the cream thing.
No, I realize that, but there was sugar as well, which gives you that rush. But then what is it about the, I'd love to know, and maybe that's something we should look into that I don't know about. The tartrazine, what other effects did it have? Was I busy? Was I vocal? Was I just chaotic?
Just chaotic.
Absolutely chaotic. It must have been overwhelming to you because you have sensory issues as well. This we've discovered in actual fact the last couple of years, we've been talking about that because I recall your hearing being a massive problem. You would say your ears would hurt. And then we discussed it, and it wasn't necessarily hurting, it was just a sensory overload, this massive sensory overload. So for you parents out there, if his children are chaotic, get them off doctors, eat food, lifestyle, and this is something that I discovered when I was 125 kilos when I met Sean 9 years ago. And at that point in time, I still loathed myself. I mean, I know back then I was still a happy child, but apparently I was depressed and I was doing dark things. So I was not as happy as I think I was. I definitely wasn't from what you just said. So my food lifestyle became the thing that helped me manage the Tourette's, the ADHD, the anxiety, the works. So I would recommend if you know, and in the neurological side of things, Neurodiversity is when you go for treatment, the first thing they do get you off is grains, sugars, and simple carbs. They change your lifestyle completely to help you manage it because it becomes destructive, very destructive. So you can check that out. I'll drop some information in the comments down below as well about that. The thing I know that you gave up, and you gave up at an early age with me and Brent. You sacrificed a lot. I mean, you worked full time, you had to give up your job. And then you opened a bookkeeping business. Was that then? So you became a bookkeeper. And I mean, that's been around for 30 plus years that you've been bookkeeping. And you also dreamed of studying. That was something that you wanted to do. Tell us about that. Tell us about that process when you gave up those things. What was that like for you as a mother? Because the sacrifices that you had to give up for us was huge. I know that.
I think I just gave it up. I just decided that my whole focus would have to be on YouTube, and so I didn't bother. But I'd actually just been straight out of my mind. Okay, I can't do it. And then, how long ago was it? 40 years later.
Yeah. You were 60 how old?
I was 64, I think, 65.
And you woke up one morning?
No, one night he woke me up and he said to me, now's the time. So I said, for what? He says, to study. I said, you've got to be joking.
At 68 years, 64? 64 years of age. Most people at that age have already, they're not studying a thing. They've given up on studies. They've achieved what they wanted. And you just didn't choose. Tell us about how this came about, because this was really interesting. Because suddenly you're going to study and you ask God, what am I going to study?
And he says to me, you choose. So I thought, oh, that's very odd. He tells you what he wants. Anyway, so I went and I chose, and I was going to do a BCom in entrepreneur. Mm-hmm. And 2 years down the line, they cancelled the course. So at that time, there was I can't remember what he's called, an advocate that was doing the commercial law thing. He said, if you want to do a degree that will give you everything you need, do a BCom in law. So I went out and checked it out, liked it, went into Visa and said, I want to change courses. And they just changed it, and that's what I came out with a BCom in law.
What I found amazing is I remember these stories. So you didn't just start studying a BCom in law, you went to university. So at that point in time, it wasn't online. You were going into university as a 64-year-old woman going into university, surrounded. I remember you talking about this, surrounded by younger women who were 18, 19, and
students, or students. Men and
yeah. But it was the woman that approached you.
No, and the men.
And the men. Okay. Tell us about that, because I was fascinated by that, because at 64, people do not expect to see a 64-year-old woman or man coming to study at university.
And I get people come along and say, what are you doing? So I said, this is what I'm doing. Gee, but you inspired me. There was a lot of them that said that. Mm-hmm. And what was interesting too is that the lecturers would say, okay, if you got a certain amount over 75%, I think, then the lecturer got an extra bonus. And then he'd say to everybody, Okay, you.
So you were getting bonuses.
No, I wasn't getting bonuses. The lecturer was getting bonuses.
Why was the lecturer getting bonuses?
Because I got a distinction.
Because you were getting distinctions. At 64 years of age, studying law, BCom in law, you were getting distinctions. And that's crazy.
Yeah.
I think most parents, and for you mums and dads out there that have kind of given up on that dream to go study, to own your own business. My mum didn't just quit a job. She started a business when we were kids. And you continued studying and continued running your business at 64 years of age. What were your thoughts back then? In terms of taking this on, because this is an immense load.
Yeah.
What were your thoughts?
It was many the time I wanted to give up.
Why didn't you?
Because I've got a friend who said, "You're not giving up, I will come." So I say, "Yes, Mom."
But that's awesome. Again, you surround yourself. But by then, I mean, you had known Jesus for many, many years. By then, I remember you put me and Brent in Sunday school in Buddhism because you wanted us to grow up. But you didn't know God back then. You didn't know Him at all. You enrolled us because you wanted us to grow up with good moral standards, I suppose. I don't know.
I think I just wanted you to make your own decision.
Okay. And then through that, what happened? Because you guys started going to church. I mean, I don't know, and I've got no idea. I just remember being at Sunday school. I remember being at Sunday school and you being at church. I don't know how old I was. I was a kid. I remember doing Father Abraham and the actions and all of those things. It was fun. We had a great time there. It was really cool. Learned the Bible stories. Didn't know Jesus back then, but you encountered him. When did you encounter Christ? 42. You were how old when I started school?
37, I think.
37. 37, and 5 years later you got to know Jesus. In those 5 years, do you believe that Christ was with you? Was it? Yeah, cheers again. Do you think it was because you enrolled Brent and me into Sunday school? Because how old were you when I remember being about 4 years old when we were at the Anglican Methodist Church in Buddhism, and you enrolled us. I don't know how old you were then, and you got to know Jesus 5 years later. So we were already in church. What happened? What was that encounter like for you?
It was actually quite amazing. I was actually working for a guy. He wasn't a Christian, but all of his employees were.
Wow.
And they led me to the Lord. But they didn't know that they were doing it. And then one night I just gave my heart to the Lord, and it was.
What did they do that led you to the Lord?
Just talked.
About
Jesus.
They did. Just openly. Similar to that conversation that I had with that Indian couple online that I'm going to be seeing and performing at their wedding. Similar to that, where they just poured it out, and the Holy Spirit spoke through them. That's awesome. That's very cool. What was that moment for like you when you gave your life to Christ?
The sun was brighter, the grass was greener. It was like the whole world just shone.
Wow. Reminds me of that song I wrote. So I'm a musician as well, not by profession, just by love and passion. And I write as well. I wrote a song and it reminds me of that spring is here and I'm happy again. I remember lying on the grass in the backyard, probably about 5, 6 years old, 7 years old. No, I had to be older because I was writing. So I was probably about 7 or 8 or 9. Did I write it? No, I didn't write it. I was singing something. I was doing something else. I think you were in the garden or hanging the washing or something. And I was doing something, maybe drawing a picture or whatever it might be. I was very young. And I started singing, "Spring is here and I'm happy." So that's, because it was beautiful. It was warm. I remember, that soaking in the sun and the cat. This little girl is a joy in our lives, man. She's so cute. So, you say the sun was brighter, the grass was greener, everything was just so beautiful. Do you think that was because you changed? You changed how you saw things?
I think so.
Okay, all right. And then, what was your journey like with Christ? I mean, that was early days. You just come to encountering him. Did it change anything in terms of how you were dealing with Brent?
Yes, but many of the time, like one day I was coming back from school after a meeting, and I just said, well, I can't cope with this anymore, I need a break. And he gave me a 3 months break.
Explain.
It was like almost like you calmed down for 3 months.
So we talk about God causing us to rest. I can't remember the name of the scripture, but you can go check it out. Yeah, God says, all who are heavy laden and burdened, come to me and I will. He doesn't say give you rest, he says cause you to rest. So you feel that that's what you experienced, that it just caused you to rest. Did things calm down in the environment? Was there less going on? Was there less chaos? What was it like for you having encountered, hey Gertie, what was it like for you having encountered Jesus? And suddenly he became your absolute strength with me and Brent.
That was when I started coping.
So pre-Jesus, pre-God, you're not coping, you're falling apart. You're alone. You're dealing with this on your own. You had non-Christians around you. That group breaks up because you just can't. It's going nowhere. You can't carry them because that's what it feels like to suddenly encountering God. And you had already learned then or realized then that you could go, Lord, I can't do this. And then he causes you to rest. That's incredible. That's super, super incredible. So your relationship with God definitely changed how your relationship with being a mother to your neurodiverse kids was.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts now? I'm 50. I'm 50. I'm 50. I'm 52 in a couple of months' time. I'm 51. What are your thoughts? Because I know that many a night you cried yourself to sleep. Was this after Christ, before Christ, both? Both. You would cry yourself to sleep worrying about what both Brent and I were doing, or just me?
Mainly you.
Mainly me. What tell me about that.
Well, the studying part of your life was pretty bad. And it took me a long time to actually just realize that I just got to let you go.
So at that point in time, explain what you mean by let me go.
I couldn't make it better. And I had to just accept that that's what you were and that's how it was going to be.
So before that, you were trying to make me better. You were trying to repair me, and you realized you couldn't. Letting go. What was that like for you?
It's a relief.
Explain it.
Well, I didn't have to do any more research. I didn't have to do any more trying to get you right.
Okay. How old was I?
So you were at Young Neuro Spicy.
Okay. So, I went to Young Neuro School. I was in Nova. I failed Standard 2 in Nova. I actually failed Standard 2
Yeah, you felt Standard 2.
in Baltimore. I go to Nova. I do Standard 2 again. I failed Standard 2 again and I got pushed through to Standard 3. I remember that. Then I went to Young Neuro. So it was kind of in the beginning of Standard 4, was it in Standard 3, which is grade 5, grade 6?
That was Standard 4.
Standard 4, so grade 6. So I go to Young Krill and you let go. So you decided this is it. I can't do this anymore. Yeah. What was the... So it was a relief. You stopped trying to figure it out. You stopped, realized you can't figure it out. Because even back then, knowledge was still limited in terms of the knowledge available. By then, I was, I'd been bullied in Baltimore. I would go to Vista Nova. Vista Nova was incredible. I loved it, excepting the one teacher. It's funny because from the experience, I was upset with him. I'd forgotten, ADHD. If we can forget our own freaking heads, we will, kind of thing. Because you're not present. Had my food lifestyle changed then? Because I remember you had a specific diet for me. I wasn't on dairy. You made me chips, my own chips. I can't remember out of what because I couldn't have the food colorants and whatnot. So you made these things for me, very, very much so. That alone is a burden that you had to cook for you, that Brent, and then me, different things, because that must have been one hell of a problem. I remember nights where you fell apart going, I don't know what to cook tonight. And you bawl, you cry your eyes out just from stress, overwhelmment, I suppose fear. Just just complete, being dry, your emotional tank being empty, you would fall apart. So I go to Yankrill, and I'm starting to be bullied by other teachers. Did you know this?
Not until that one teacher.
Mr. Black.
He gave you a hiding for failing the exam.
Yeah, absolutely. Funny thing is, I don't remember these things. I have so much from this that I've learned. Maybe it's because of the trauma. I battled with educational trauma, even studying today, I've had to find various ways to teach. I own an extremely successful business that's been around for 30 years. It's grown, it's scaling. I don't just do entertainment anymore, and I've had to learn so much and find my own ways to learn. And maybe this is part of the process of you just letting go and going, God's got him. And, and there's that scripture that goes, "For I know the plans I have for you, plans to prosper and harm in the future." And it continues. And, if you haven't read it, go read the rest of it, because the rest of it talks about going to God. Because it goes, and and then, so for I know the plans I have for you, plans to prosper and not harm, to give a hope and a future. And then you will seek me, and you will find me, and you will pray to me, and I will then. So it's understanding that he has the plans for us. And did you kind of, you had encountered God, you got to this place where you let go. Did you know, and did you realize back then that he had my plans, Brent's plans, not back then?
No.
But you knew you had to let go. Why did you feel you had to let go? What happened back then that you kind of just went, I need to let this, I need to.
You were a teenager by that time.
Yeah.
Anybody who has a teenager knows that it's a fighting.
Yeah.
It's a battle second to none.
But Tina, and I think Brent and I were, Brent more rebellious. I'm not going to go into why. That's personal. But understandably why. I think I was rebellious by just hanging around with the wrong people, making stupid decisions. And you could not. I actually recall having a conversation, maybe you had this with Brent, and you literally went, if you ever do anything like dacha, drugs, so marijuana, drugs, alcohol, just please let us know. Just please let me know. You can always talk to me about it. I won't be angry with you, but I'd rather know what you're doing than hear about you somewhere. Were we open? I don't recall.
Yes.
Were we very open? This was probably part of the process of you having these coffee conversations with Brent and myself. You believe that brought the trust, because we couldn't speak to that. I remember Dad kept catching me smoking, and he made me eat a packet of cigarettes. I would never do that to my child. I would never. I mean, did it do me harm? No, but it made me hellishly sick. So relationship with your children that are neurodiverse is extremely important, special needs, anyone for that matter. Relationship with your kids is making time for them that is specifically for them. What is it that you didn't have the greatest relationship with Gran and Grandad? I mean, in Gran's last years you did. In Granddad's last years you had forgiven him for certain things, and you did. But you didn't as a child. What made you decide that you wanted to spend the time with Brent and me individually? What was it that made you go, I want a relationship with my kids, and therefore I need to be relational with my kids? What was that decision? When did that happen? How did that happen? I mean, we were going to Cherry Lane from a very young age. What was the thought process? What did you go? Was it a conscious thing to go, I want to build a relationship with my kids, so I'm going to take them for milkshakes? So it wasn't a conscious thing, you just did it. Even though we were chaotic, both of us. So instead of, and I think this is where a lot of parents make a mistake, and please don't quote me on this. I don't know what you're going through. I absolutely have no idea what you're going through with your kids. But even though we were chaotic, a teacher had said, I don't even know how you stand this point. You made this conscious decision that you would spend time with us, investing in us relationally. And it was an unconscious thought. You just did it. So you sacrificed everything. And then on top of that, really sowed into us. And Dad had a problem with this, because he didn't know how to build a relationship with us. Do you think this was because perhaps Dad's mother didn't build a relationship with him. We're coming now, girl.
She had troubles with him. She sent him away to boarding school.
That's right. Dad got sent to boarding school. So Dad dealt with abandonment issues as well, because both Dad and you were treated badly by my parents. And my grandparents were amazing. You know, they came out of the Second World War. There was a lot of trauma there. There was a lot of trauma in their upbringing. It was a different era. It wasn't their fault. So we're not talking about them as if they were bad people. They were broken people, and we're all broken. Yeah, I've never had this kind of deep conversation with you before, and it's, you know, it's always been, you know, especially when it comes to what I've achieved. Did you ever believe that I would achieve when I was younger? Because you used to go to bed not knowing what I do. You meet Christ, you have this encounter, you resign everything to Him. You then realize that you don't know it all, you can't find it all, the information's not there. And even today, as much as there is tons of information, it's hard to find it. You resign it, you hand it over, you let it go. Brent and I turned out great. Brent's studying to be a nurse. He works with people that are special needs and neurodiversity as a caregiver. I share my story and I motivational speak, and we do, and I've learned about the human perception because of the mentalism, the psychological illusion. And God has equipped me incredibly in ways that I would never have dreamt of. When it came to me, did you ever think that I would achieve these things? Going back to my childhood, not a young adult. I remember coming to Dad and you and going, I want to be a magician. Woo! And you know, they're just there because, I mean, that already is a crazy concept. But that's an absolute, you know, most parents would look at their kids and go, my child's cooked. You want to become a magician. You want to play with toys for a living and do tricks. How are you going to make a living out of that? I mean, what was that moment like? Dad, I remember Dad saying to me, okay, and actually maybe it was you. I don't know whether it was Dad or you, but I remember being told, well, it's going to be difficult, but if that's what you love doing, doing it. At that point in time, because I had gone through studying food, I was always doing something. I was selling, there was a company called Fair Deal, and they used to give us all sorts of belts and whatever it might be, and you'd stand at the robots, the traffic lights, and you'd sell that. I was always doing something. When I was a kid, I was doing beadwork. You were selling that. So I was entrepreneurial when I was a kid, but never thought about it that way, because I wanted pocket money, so I would sell that stuff. But did you ever think that my position today as a mentalist and the top in South Africa, being a motivational speaker, writing a book, which was a massive fear for me, you know, writing my first book, Dream Impossible, touring the world, performing globally, you know, I mean, did you ever at one point in time in your life go, my son's going to do incredible things?
No.
Not at all. And you've just seen God do the most unbelievable things in my life. When we spoke the other day and you said to me, I used to be an obnoxious brat. I don't remember that, but you do and others would as well. Tell me about that. Tell me about, I mean, was I a young adult? Was I a teenager? Where was I at then? And I hated myself. And I suppose the only way people who loathe themselves is become harmful to others, or rude, or obnoxious, or whatever it might be, because you treat others as you treat yourself. Yeah. When was that? I mean, I have no cooking. More or less, how old was I? Was I out of the house already? Was I a young adult?
Well, I think you were probably about 6 years old.
I was obnoxious when I was 6 years old.
I mean, you used to come out from school and kick me.
Well, I remember that. I mean, that was coming home from Vora. I don't remember kicking you. I don't remember.
I used to say you.
That's right. Yeah, you would.
March you to your room and say, you calm down.
On the floor, you would put on some. What music was it? It was Beethoven. I love classical music. Still do. Play piano. Still do. Don't have one. If you have one, I'll take it. But you would then lay me on the carpet on my back until I'd calm down, and then you'd roll me over and start my homework with me. where did all these ideas come from? You know, back then, I'm 6 years old, or 7 or 8, whatever it might be, 8 years old, in school. There's little to no information. Where did these ideas come from? To lie me on the floor, I come home frustrated because I'm frustrated with school. I do not remember a time in my entire school career that was more than 12 years. No, it was. I left at the end of grade 10. End of standard 8, I just went, I'm done. I'm not doing this anymore. So I finished school. These ideas to rock, where does that come from?
That to do the music,
Yeah.
that was also on the internet.
Okay.
Everything, Beethoven has got a certain rhythm.
Yeah.
And it will slow your heartbeat down, and then it will slow you down.
I still use music. I refer to it as a life fact. It's not. It's just a known fact. In my industry as a mentalist or psychological illusionist, we use music to reduce emotions. So when I'm creating and building a show, music becomes the catalyst to the journey. It becomes the thing that takes people on the journey. And it's the emotional psychology behind each illusion that allows me to induce an emotion to create fear, anxiety, calm, whatever it might be. Music for me is still an immense part of my life. I listen to a ton of worship to spend time with God, but when I'm in my quiet time, the secret place, really, then I put on music that's got no words so that I'm able to really relax and really just chill with God. So it's very much a big thing. So, you know, if you're watching this, music is unbelievably powerful, but it's also unbelievably bad if you're listening to the wrong music. Because I remember I went through an era where I was listening to hard rock, metal, punk. You know, we were doing Jesus Summer festivals, and that was great, but there were other things that I was listening to. I mean, I grew up in the era where the Christian music industry started flourishing in terms of Christian contemporary music industry. Stripe, band called Striper, just many bands. So I grew up in an era where music was massive in terms of the growth. So music became a big thing. Piano, guitar, drums. You can see the guitars on the wall. And music's still a big part of my life. And again, I'm just going to go to, at no point in time did you ever expect me to be doing what I'm doing and as successful and still learning, still growing, still learning. So, you know, just in terms of the entire discussion, if we're going to, you know, this is going to be reaching both mothers, fathers, both in couple, both single, individual. What would you say to them who are tired, confused, baffled, struggling on the point of giving up, not wanting to continue, feeling hopeless, feeling lost? What would you say to them from a mother that raised 2 children, gave up everything? Then 64, ran a business on her own from home as bookkeeping. And that became a ministry as well, because you focused on the small business enterprises that couldn't afford the top dollar that a lot of bookkeepers and bookkeeping businesses charge. You focused, and that's kept you extremely busy. And still does at 82, I mean, or 81, you haven't stopped. For the mother, the father, they're battling, they don't want to quit, they want to give up, they don't know what to do, they're feeling hopeless, they're feeling lost. What would you say to them?
The only thing I can say is don't give up. Because many's the time I felt like I had to give up, I just couldn't. And then I would just go away from for a little while and just try and restore myself.
Restore yourself. So in coaching, when I'm lifestyle coaching, so I work with people with neurodiversities when it comes to coach ADHD, Tourette's, dyslexia, and so on. I coach people. Is we have an emotional tank. As humans, we're physical, mental, and emotional. And we have an emotional tank. When we're depressed, we're down, we feel like quitting, that means we're empty emotionally. So your emotional tank, you become emotionally drained. And neurodiverse kids are extremely taking. Not deliberately, they don't want to empty you, but they are extremely taxing, challenging, a battle. And what my mom's saying is she would leave to give herself an emotional break, because it is emotional, physically, mentally, and emotionally, because we are taking all the time. And it's not our fault. We don't know when we're youngsters. And a lot of people, even when they're adults, they don't know. And go fill up. Filling up means going to do the things that you love doing. That when you've done it, you go, oh, that was amazing. That was awesome. That was fun. For me, it's been around water. I've always loved the ocean. So bodyboarding, swimming, snorkeling. I remember the pool in the backyard. Brent and I spent hours in it. We just loved water. I had an accident jumping into a pool, landed on my ankles, ended up ripping or tearing my Achilles tendons, and I had to have those sorted out. I was hospitalized for that. I was in, but that's how much I loved water. We did stupid things, and go for that. So take a break. Give yourselves a break. I give myself, as a person with neurodiversities, there are days when today's been a tough day. Today was not an easy day for both of us. I had to wake up. I ate something yesterday I shouldn't. So that causes my tics to flare up when it comes to the dyslexia. The Tourette's are the mild form, so I get tics when I'm eating things I shouldn't. And then I get anxious. And even this episode was just massive, really massive for me because, and I procrastinated. We were going to film it yesterday. I set up everything for it yesterday, and I procrastinated. And then we went up the road. We got out of the house for a bit because there's been a lot going on this week specifically. So what I'm saying is this, when you're that one, and this is for people who are not neurodiverse as well, people who are just dealing with life. If you need a break, give yourself permission to have a break. You aren't always going to like your kids, but you're called to love them. You're not always going to like your husband, but you're called to love him. You're not always going to like your mom, kids, but you're called to love them. And that's the same. So when you need a break and when you need to fill up, it doesn't mean you need to go away for a weekend or just get out of the house. Go do something that you love doing. Go for a walk. Hit the beach. Go play something and do something that you love doing. What do you love doing? You used to do art. You're a gamer. You enjoy games. You just disappear into your own world and go fill up. When you have moments like even today, not necessarily having to raise a child with neurodiversities anymore, but you still live with someone who's neurodiverse, and there are times I have panic attacks. And my mum said to go, he's not being a douche, he's just battling. I'm gonna go away and let him do his thing. Because I learned to manage these things, we all do. But what do you do to fill up?
I go for a cup of coffee somewhere. Just sit and nothing, it seems they've got a lovely little garden that you can sit in.
What is your time with God like?
That's good.
When do you, I'm saying like, what is your time? When are you doing that?
In the morning.
In the mornings. Waking up early hours in the mornings or late morning or, we get out of bed at 8, 9 o'clock in the morning because we don't have to. Sometimes we work into the night, but we get to enjoy those moments. So your time with God, is it early mornings or when is it?
Well, sometimes it isn't.
Okay.
So,
But generally when the household is quiet. When nobody's asking questions, nobody's bothering you, you go to God in. Okay, perfect. So, as parents with neurodiverse kids, if I can leave you with my mom was my backbone for many, many years. God moved me up to the Free State 5 years ago now. This is my 5th year, because my mom used to be my backbone. And if I can leave you with this, God had to remove me from being around. I was up here for a long time. Mom moved up here. This is her 2nd year, so she's here a year and a half now. God had to move me away on my own to establish me in Him, because my mom was my backbone, and I always feared losing my mom, feared my mom when she died. I don't fear that anymore. Not that I wanted to go. That's not what I want or what I'm saying. I love my mom, and I'm glad to have her here because I have so much time with her. But what I'm saying is, if there's one thing that you can do, make sure that God is your child's backbone, because God is the one that never leaves. Never, when your son, daughter that are neurodiverse, special needs, or just generally if they become completely reliant on you, even as an adult, it's dangerous. I've seen people fall apart and give up on life when a mother or father dies. For me, having lost my fiance 2 years ago when she died, and God carrying me through that season, and having people around me through that season, my dad passing away 8 years ago, and God carrying me through that season, your dad, your mom going home to the Father, just knowing that they're there is incredible. And it removes a lot of the sadness, the heartbreak that is right now, but it doesn't matter. Make sure God becomes the backbone of your children, so that one day, because otherwise you're going to spend your life, and I know that you did for years, going, even in my adulthood, going, I don't know how my son's going to manage when I'm gone. Now you'll be fine, because God's going to. And that's the thing. So if that's what we can leave with you from this episode, is don't give up. God's got your kid. If your God hasn't got your kid, it's because you don't know God. And I would love you to meet and encounter Jesus. And that's my prayer, is that you do. Because again, he knows the plans that he has for us. And your children have immense value, worth, and potential, and so do you. And the amount of value that you as a mum have added to not just my life, and this is the thing about values is what we add to other people's lives. And that's, we look at value as monetary. It's not monetary. Value is what money does for us. That's the value of money, but money isn't the value. It's what it does for us. So my mum's value is the things that she has and is for so many other people, and likewise. Your worth is, and these are things you have to walk in, by the way. So if you understand, you know, ask your friends, ask your family, what value do they see in you that they always show up, that they'll always be there. You've got friends that are in Cape Town that still show up, that you can pick up the phone and they are there for you. If you call up, they are there for you because you add value to their lives and they do to you. And then your worth, my mom knows what her worth is and she believes it and she walks in it. And then your potential, well, that's limitless. We are looking and scaling as a company, and I've got an incredible team, all neurodiverse, and we're achieving incredible things. Things my mother, there's been prophecies over my life that we still look at and we go, what the flip, that's incredible. Stay strong. You've got this. And until next time, thank you for joining us. It's been great. Is there any last thoughts, Mom?
No, as I say, just don't give up.
Just don't give up. Absolutely. And thank you for not giving up. You're an incredible woman, incredible daughter of the Father, and I'm so grateful for you. And I'm loving that you're here with me. So until next time, guys, stay gifted, stay alive. We'll see you soon. See you in the next episode. Cheers. Done. That's it. Yep.